Today's canning project is going to be a little bit different, being we are going to do something that we have never done before. So we have been perfecting our barbecue sauce recipe, and the only thing missing in that recipe right now is a smoky element. So we are going to be using the grill today to try to get that smokiness into our barbecue sauce. But first, we have to uncover it because we haven't used it for a while. We haven't used this grill since the day that it, well, days plural, that it just rained and rained and rained. And then overnight it snowed. And then that next morning it was like negative 15 degrees. So it is very well frozen down, but we're getting it. There are a lot of products that we want to make out of our tomatoes from the garden. So whenever we can find something that we can substitute those tomatoes or use something else, that's kind of what we want to do. So with this barbecue sauce, we actually use rhubarb in place of it. And I think our plan today is we are going to try to smoke the rhubarb. So we already have it cut into little chunks and it's in the freezer right now. So I'm not really sure how that's going to work. I do have a tray that's meant for grilling and roasting veggies on the grill. And I'm kind of hoping that the holes on that tray aren't too big that the rhubarb will just fall through. Ideally, I think if we were to do this, we would use fresh, like long sticks of rhubarb and not have it chopped up. But when I decided to chop it up and throw it in the freezer, I didn't really think at that time that I was going to want to be smoking it on the grill. So we'll see how it goes today. It's something I've never done before. We're going to give it a try, and I'm just hoping that it works out and brings that smoky flavor to our barbecue sauce. The plan is to have our fire in here, and then we've got some little wood chips that we'll have to kind of help the smoking, and then I think I'm going to put the tray of rhubarb in this one. So we'll have the air intake down here, where our fire is going to be, and then the smoke will come over this way and out our smoke pipe. And then I'm thinking that way the rhubarb won't necessarily burn or dry out too much, but it will be just fully encased in that smoke. So that's what we're going to try. So now that the grill is uncovered, we have to go get the rhubarb out of the freezer, and I have to go find that grilling tray because I haven't used it since we moved here. So a single batch of our rhubarb recipe, I'm pretty sure uses 6 cups, which each of these bags holds 6 cups. I have to decide if I want to use both of them up and do a double batch. Since I'm not sure how well this smoking is going to work, I think I'm just going to do a single batch this time. And then if I feel that it worked out really well, then I'll come back and I'll just do another single batch with the other bag of rhubarb. Because if I don't use it all, there is a really yummy rhubarb pineapple dessert that my family makes, and we might just save this for that. So we're going to just grab one bag, I think. I think this should work pretty well for on the grill. I don't think they will fall through it at all. Then we're just going to take this outside and set it on the grill right away. I was very nervous that that tray might not actually fit because it was too wide, but it seems to fit perfectly. So now we need to get a fire going over there. And I'm just going to say this right off the bat. I have very, very little experience with smoking things. I'm not very good at it. I haven't even really looked into it a bunch on how to do it. But just off the top of my head, what I would assume the general concept is we want to have nice coals going over here on this side. We'll add our chips on top of those coals so they kind of smoke and smolder. And then we just want to have a good enough draft that'll bring that smoke over and up and really encase all of this. So I think what I'm going to start off doing is leaving both of these open and get a really nice fire going right here just to get it really hot so I can get those coals to start. And then once I get those coals going, then I'm going to add on some of those chips and then kind of choke it down a little bit so that it just sits there and smolders and smokes and doesn't quite flame up as much, because you don't have as much smoke if it's like fully engulfed in flames versus if there aren't very many flames, then it'll smoke a whole lot more. So that's my game plan. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I killed it by adding those two. We're also just going to be very kind and not judge the fire building skills. Just It's been a while since I've had to start an outside fire. I certainly have it perfected inside. As that goes. I'm just going to let that fire grow a little bit bigger, get really hot. I think I'm going to go grab some more bigger chunks just out of our firewood pile so we get some nice coals in there. And then once I see that, I'm going to sprinkle on some of those wood chips. Probably shut this and then also shut that. And hopefully just let it smoke for a while. So I think it is safe to say we've got this smoking decently right now. The temperature is not too bad. It's just barely on the temperature gauge. So I think we're just going to leave it just like this. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to open it anymore. We have, this pipe is fully open. Obviously, these two doors are fully closed. And then this intake door is open just about an inch and a half. So we're just going to let that sit just like that. I think we're going to maybe let it smoke for about an hour and see how it is, because it's definitely smoking up pretty well. So it's been just under an hour. I wanted to come out here and peek at it, make sure it's not getting too hot because I really don't want to burn it. But it looks like the temperature is not even on the thermometer anymore, so I don't think I have to worry about that. It's smoking just a little bit now, not nearly as much as it was. And I think I'm just going to kind of let it go until it completely stops smoking. So we're probably just going to let it sit out here for maybe another hour. But I think we can peek at it. Oh yeah. yeah, that can definitely stay out here for quite a bit longer. It's not looking anywhere close to burning. So maybe we might even try to stoke that up just a little bit more. Get some more, let it smoke just a little bit longer. So this barbecue sauce recipe we actually originally got out of this preserving book. I think it was the Victorian barbecue sauce. Let's see. So it was originally the Victorian barbecue sauce. And when we made that, we actually did not like it at all. So we've made a few different variations of it, mostly changing up the spices inside to the point where we really like it now. Like I said earlier, it's just the smokiness that we're trying to get into our barbecue sauce again. So I can definitely smell the smoke with this. I really hope it translates all the way into the sauce now. So we're going to start cooking this down. It's a super easy one. You basically just dump all of the ingredients in at once, cook it down, immersion, blend it up really, really smooth, and then you're good to go, and you can just can it up. So the first thing we're going to add is about 1 cup of raisins. We use a lot of molasses in this house, so we've got the full gallon of it here. And then we need half of an onion chopped up, which I did not pre-do that, so we're going to have to do that right now. And then next we need to add some vinegar, which I usually take that whole amount and then halve it, and I do half white vinegar and half apple cider vinegar. Then all that's left are the spices, which is very simple. We're going to add some salt, ginger, cumin, and then mustard powder. One teaspoon salt. Ginger. Cumin. Yeah. And our mustard powder. So that is everything that goes into there. We just need to get it up on the heat and boiling. That is so smoky smelling. Like so smoky. Okay. So everything's been at least softened. So I'm going to take the lid off and I'm going to get this up to an actual boil. So now that we're up to a pretty good boil, we're going to get out the immersion blender and we're going to give it a really good blend. So now that it's blended up, this is the point where you would just cook it down until it's a thickness that you would want. However, this is looking pretty thick to me, especially since it's still hot. So I think we're just gonna leave it exactly like this and start getting it in some jars. It's not bad at all. There you go. So the one thing I'm lacking in my notebook of notes when I do recipes like this is how many this is supposed to make. So I'm gonna have to make sure that this time around I write down how many jars I got out of it, so that next time I'll have a reference point to know how many jars to wash. So I'm not really sure right now. And this is gonna be the last full jar, but that's okay because there's just a little bit left, but it's not quite enough to fit a full half pint. But I think we have plans for that tomorrow, so that's totally fine to have just a little bit left over. We've got 6 more jars to go onto our shelves, and this time of some smoky barbecue sauce. So it is the next day. It has cooled off, so we are going to give this a taste test. It smells really, really good, but we haven't actually tried it yet. Of course, we're going to compare it to our store-bought barbecue sauce to see how close we got to it.
I think we got it nailed this time.
The smell, it's pretty good. It's a little bit thicker.
It is pretty thick. It is pretty thick.
It is thick.
It's got a little more spices to it than ours.
This one?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very happy with it either way. Yeah, this is actually pretty spicy compared to that.
Yeah, this is really sweet, which it does have a lot of sugar in it. I think we nailed the smokiness.
Mm-hmm.
I might consider trying to tone down on the sugar and then maybe upping the spice a little bit more the next time we do this, though.
Yeah, this is actually pretty
But
spicy.
overall, I think that's really good. I mean, after only probably 3 attempts, we've gotten pretty close, and I'm happy with it.